Please stand in the position that is comfortable for you and pray. Surely I am being turned to thee, O Allah, striving to be upright to him who originated the heavens and the earth, and I'm not of the polytheists. Surely my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death are all for Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. No associate has he in this I am commanded. I am of those who sin. O Allah, thou art the King. There is no God but thee. Thou art my Lord, and I am thy servant. I have been greatly unjust to myself, and I confess my faults. So grant me protection against all of my faults, for none grants protection against faults but thee. And guide me to the best of morals, for none can guide to the best of morals but thee. And turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals, for none can turn away from me the evil and the indecent morals but thee. O Allah, make Muhammad successful, and make the true followers of Muhammad successful, as thou did make Abraham, and make the true followers of Abraham successful, but surely thou art praised and Father. And O Allah, bless Muhammad, and bless the true followers of Muhammad, as thou did bless Abraham, and bless the true followers of Abraham, but surely thou art praised and magnified in all this forever. Amen. Please be seated. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. How's everyone feeling today? I'm doing fine by Allah's grace as well. Indeed, a pleasure, an honor, and truly a privilege to be standing before you, the people of God. And I'm thankful for you taking time out of your schedule and honored to have you in our presence, as this is not just my home, this is your home. So I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and visit Muhammad's Mosque number 27. I'm thankful for Allah allowing me another day to be up, because He allowing me another chance to be a better man today, to be a better brother today, to be a better Muslim today. And I thank Him for giving me that chance and giving me inspiration by allowing me the opportunity to breathe His air today. I'm always thankful to God to giving humanity another chance. And no matter how far we get off the path, out of His mercy and guidance, He always puts us back on the right path. And He does that through divine revelation, divine messengers, and divine prophets. So I'm thankful to Allah for giving us Moses in the Torah. I'm thankful to Allah for giving us Jesus in the Gospel. And I'm thankful to Allah for giving us Muhammad and the Holy Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants. But as a student in the Nation of Islam, I cannot thank Allah enough for His intervention in our affairs in the person of Master W. Farad Muhammad, a man whom the promise of God to Abraham was fulfilled in him coming and making himself known to us. If you're unfamiliar with that promise, in the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 13, God was having a discussion with Abraham. And He said, know for a surety that your seed will be a stranger in a land that is not theirs. And they shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. But after that time, I will come. And He will judge that nation that they have served, and He will bring them out of that nation, giving them great substance. So I thank Allah for coming for us, because somebody had to come and intervene what was being done to us. Somebody had to come and intervene what the slave master was doing to us. Somebody had to come and intervene and stop people randomly picking up black men on the street. Not only black men, but black boys, and lynching us. Somebody had to come and stop the slave master for going in our quarters and just taking our women and going into them as they pleased. Somebody had to come and stop and tear down the house and the architecture of white supremacy. That house which has built this world. That house which has built black inferiority. And that house which has made us look as the whole world as a dead nation. That house that has made us look at the whole world as an uncivilized nation. You know, we don't have any power in this world. Those in particular in North America. The black man and woman is like dust in North America. We can be moved by anybody at any time. And when you look at this nation, anybody can come over here yesterday and set up a business tomorrow or today. But why is it that we've been over here for 400 years and we can't seem to get nothing going? It's because the house and the architecture of white supremacy has stopped that. So I thank Master Farad Muhammad for coming. And he made himself known to us on July the 4th, 1930, to declare us independent as the slave master was celebrating his independence. But he came not only to make himself known, but he came to raise up one from among the dead and give that one great power. And we saw great power in that man, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Like I said, we were looked at as a dead nation, dead morally, dead mentally, dead politically, dead economically, dead on every single level. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad took that which seemed to have no value and built the nation. He took those that everybody rejected and despised and built the nation. He took those that people didn't see any value in and turned them into scholars and healers. Nobody knew who Malcolm Little was. He was a pimp, a hustler, only went to the 8th grade, was in prison most of his life. But when he came across the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, this man, Malcolm X, was able to confound the minds of those that were scholars in Harvard, Yale, Cambridge, every major university across the nation and the world. Well, why is that? It's because he came face to face and came under the tutelage of a man who was taught by God in person. We hope you just reason with us today, because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad only had at best a 4th grade education. But with that education, he was able to raise a whole people. With the education and the best education that he got through Master Farad Muhammad, he was able to build a system that was building a people. And like in the scripture, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. But that Word became flesh, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad allowed himself to be, if you will, a womb. And that when Master Farad Muhammad came, he deposited himself into this man. And when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad started to revolve around the word of Master Farad Muhammad, he started to grow and evolve in us. And likewise, he did that for over 40 years. And we are blessed with a divine extension of his mercy. We are blessed with someone who is completing his work today in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, a man who gave up his life in order that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad life might live in him. A man whom, if you truly just look at today, not only look at him, if you listen to him, if you pay attention to him, you can tell that this man is not only backed by God, he got God in him, through him, around him. God is over his mouth. God is over his language. And there's not a man, in particular a black man in the world, that speaks with so much strength and power as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan does. But why is that? It's because he got God and Christ backing him. It's because not only is he a divine extension of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know, he extends God's mercy to us, because we didn't quite get it when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was with us. We didn't quite grasp what it was that this man had came to give us. And I thank him over and over again, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Master Farad Muhammad, for preparing that man to give us a way out of this world. And it's in those great names that I would like to greet you all again in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Again, give yourselves a round of applause for making it out today. Again, I thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come here. The life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad as exemplified through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I'm not the keynote speaker. We have a guest today from a regional city, our brother Robert Muhammad, who's going to give us a well-prepared lecture, but we get to see how our brothers down south interpret the wisdom of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a brother who I love, and if you have heard him before, you know that he's a very intellectual teacher when he comes across with the life-giving teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He doesn't just talk about it in the spiritual form. He backs it up with scientific proof. And he gives us it in a language that we can understand. He don't use a lot of fancy words. He just gives it to us straight. No chaser. But before he comes up, I would like to just thank you again for taking time out of your schedule. And if you missed the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's lecture last Sunday, which was Who Are the Real Children of Israel, Part 2, The Proof, you can still view it online on www.noi.org. And look at that lecture and study it. And get the latest Final Call, because the latest Final Call has excerpts from this speech. But more importantly, get these books that he's asking us to get. And not only get them, but study them. You know, we got Bibles and Qurans and all kinds of books in our home, but sometimes we got to dust it off and blow the dust off of it because it's been sitting up on the shelf. So we don't want to just get the book to get it. We want to take the book, read it, study it, and implement it. And look at what it is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is giving us. Because as Prophet Muhammad said, one learned Muslim is better than 1,000 unlearned. And they are more effective against the enemy if you are a learned Muslim. Well, this book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, gives the history of the Jews in the slave trade and beyond by their scholars. It's not just us saying it. It's not just us saying that, well, we think they were involved. This is their scholars, their rabbinical scholars, their own persons, their own documentations, their books, if you will, on how they kept the books of them being and willing participants in the slave trade and beyond. And if you're paying attention to current events, you know, how many people have heard of the oil spill that's going on and British Petroleum? Well, you might also have heard that, you know, a few months ago, about a year ago, one of these soldiers, he might have been a political prisoner, but he was somebody who was implicated in the Lockerbie bombings from Libya. And I don't know if he was in the military structure of Libya, but he was nevertheless in prison. Now, he was released, and they're saying that he was released because British Petroleum had negotiated his release to drill wells in Libya. But you have many members of Congress, many senators, both Democrats and Republicans, talking about this because now they're saying that they need to investigate this because now it's blood money. And I just want to read some of the excerpts. Robert Menendez, a Democrat from New Jersey, decried the release late of last August of the Lockerbie bomber al-Megrahi, a moral outrage at a press conference this past Wednesday. He said that BP has admitted that it lobbied for a prisoner exchange, and they just didn't say which prisoners in particular. But this senator said if BP is found to have gained access to Libyan oil reserves by using a mass murderer as a bargaining chip, then make no mistake, any money it makes off that oil is blood money. Now, Chuck Schumer, another Democrat from New York, said until this deal is properly investigated, this project off the coast of Libya should not break ground. If British Petroleum is dealing in good faith, it should cooperate with this investigation. Well, that's interesting because, you know, these people that call themselves senators and congresspersons are really hypocrites.
That's right.
Because here you have a people that's been enslaved for 400 years, but you won't even allow a petition for the Congress to even apologize for slavery. So where's your blood money when it comes to us? As the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan explained, that we are the real children of Israel. And I want to say, well, if they're saying British Petroleum is making blood money off of one man being released, let me read something to you about corporations that have been challenged by reparations activists. And this is by the USA Today, their study that says that these people owned, rented, or insured slaves. They loaned money to plantation owners. They helped hunt runaway slaves. Some of America's most respected companies have slavery in their past. Now, These companies, there is considerable evidence that the proud names in finance, banking, insurance, transportation, manufacturing, publishing, and other industries are linked to slavery. Now, some of these companies are publicly identified as Aetna, the insurance company, New York Life, AIG, and financial giants J.P. Morgan Chase of Manhattan Bank and Fleet Boston Financial Group. Now, if the locker being BP is known as blood money, surely these should be known as some blood money. Now, independently, USA Today has found documentation tying several other companies to slavery. Now, some of these companies are investment banks, Brown Brothers, Harriman, and Lehman Brothers, railroads, Norfolk Southern, CXX, Union Pacific, Canadian National, textile maker West Point Stevens, newspaper publishers, Knight Rider, Tribune, Media General, Advanced Publications, E.W. Scripps and Gannon, parent and publisher of USA Today. Now, many of you might say, well, what do the newspapers got to do with slavery? Well, when one of us wanted to run away from the plantation, how do you think they got word out that a slave was missing? They would have newspapers that would be circulated, and it'll have on there, wanted, young Negro boy, age 16 to 17, burdened. He might be handsome. He got a scar on his left cheek, but he ran away from the Jones plantation. A reward of $30 if you find this Negro and bring him back. Well, these people have to pay for their blood money. Now, evidence against corporations sits in university libraries, historical collections, and corporate archives. Slaves haunt the pages of old letters, newspapers, receipts, payroll sheets, account books, and annual reports and court records. Now, I heard it said before that if you want to hide anything from a black person, put it in a book. Because we don't read. And not only do we don't read, we don't interpret what it is we read. We don't even look for the evidence. Many of us are very happy to do business with Chase Bank that just bought Washington Mutual. Well, where did they get the money to establish themselves to buy Washington Mutual? As it says that these companies were built off of slavery. So do they have to answer to blood money? Let me continue. There are insurance policies naming their masters as beneficiaries. Railroad rule books prescribing 39 lashes of the whip for recalcitrant slaves. That means if you came late and showed up late to work, you might have got 39 lashes from the railroad company. Newspapers publishing ads offering rewards for the return of slaves. Now, the list of these companies are likely to grow because there's going to be energy companies that once used slaves to lay oil beneath the southern cities, the mining companies, or the slaves who dug for coal, salt, tobacco marketers that relied on slaves to cultivate the tobacco. Now, slavery's long shadow could also fall over some of Europe's oldest financial houses, which were the leading financiers of the cotton trade. You ask, well, why is this important? Well, if you were listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he is breaking down the house of white supremacy. And anytime you shine a light on the root of the tree, that tree will die. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is exposing the truth to these powerhouses whose roots go deep into slavery. Now you might say, well, why is that important? It's important because we got to recognize that our independence is in ourselves. We have to pool our resources, our own education, our own qualifications for our own independence. We can't rely on the slave master or the slave master children to do for us. Like the minister said, LeBron James is a slave today. He's a high-paid slave, but he's a slave on the cotton field. He's on the basketball field making that money. You got some high-priced slaves on the football field making money. You got some high-priced slaves on the baseball field making money. But they have no power to even talk. You notice that some of these young brothers are scared to have brothers, the FOI, as their security. Why? It's because they got a slave master telling them that if you still want to get a check from me, You better not to have the FOI secure you. I know they do good work, but I'm your master. You do what I tell you to do. So if you really was free, if you really was a free black man making millions of dollars, why are you scared to have some brothers around you? Or why are you scared to talk positively about the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? Why are you scared to talk positively about the Nation of Islam, which has done nothing bad? It's interesting that many of our black churches welcome in these Jewish and rabbinical people to their churches. Now think about it, the Jews reject Jesus. The Muslims embrace Jesus. The Muslims talk about Jesus more favorably than any Jew that I know. The Jews don't look at Jesus as who he is. The Muslims devote not only a chapter in the Quran, Surah 19, to Jesus' mother, but it talks about the importance of Jesus in the Quran. Now, why these Negroes will be so quick to let a yarmulke in than a bow tie in? What is it about the yarmulke that they respect so much? When I don't see them doing anything to help out our so-called Negro people out here in the streets. It's the Nation of Islam that go to work day and night, trying to raise and rise those that are looked at as the poorest, those that looked at as nobody want to even look at. We are the rejected and despised, but nobody come to the people like the Nation of Islam. You know, it's just sad. But let me continue. Lloyd's of London, the giant insurance marketplace, could become a target because member brokerages are believed to have insured ships that brought slaves from Africa to the USA and cotton from the South in New England and Britain. Now, I want to close on that point before I bring up my brother Merlin, who's going to take us further here. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is breaking down our open enemy. And make no mistake about it, he's well qualified to do that. Let Allah and his angels deal with the open enemy. We got to deal with the closed enemy, which is that enemy in your mind. Learn to attack that enemy that gets you to lie. Learn that attack that enemy that will get you to slack talk. Learn to attack that enemy that will get you to do everything that you know you ain't supposed to be doing. But the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, get the secret relationship between blacks and Jews, part 1 and 2. Get Jews buying slaves. Get that book too, because it's an investment. And when you invest in your mind and invest in history, you know, you become well prepared to defend yourself. You become well prepared to not only defend yourself, but defend your history. So, also, if you don't know, the original benefactors of many of the country's top universities, Harvard, Yale, Brown, Princeton, and the University of Virginia, among them were wealthy slave owners. Lawyers on the reparations team say the universities will also be sued. Now, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in my humble opinion, is the only one qualified to deal with this reparations issue. Because we all are looking for a handout, most of us, that are looked at as so-called black leaders. But the minister is not looking just for a handout, because the Caucasian or anybody can give us a check today, and we buy 100 Escalades tomorrow, or buy 100 rims tomorrow, or we take the money and give it right back to them. But in the word reparations, it's repair. How do you repair a people that have been destroyed spiritually? How do you repair a people that have been destroyed mentally? How do you repair people that have been destroyed economically? Anybody in here remember the Columbine killings, when those kids went up into school and shot it up? Now, when they did that, those people in Denver, not only the mayor, but the principals, they roped off that area and they didn't even let a child out until they sent in a team of psychologists, until they sent in a team of doctors to talk to each student, because that was such a traumatic event. Imagine somebody busting in your school and shooting somebody right in front of your face. Imagine the trauma that that would cause to a young child. Well, imagine the trauma that has been done to us year after year. Imagine the trauma of having us look at our women in slave days, and for the slave master to show fear in us, he tied a pregnant woman one leg to one horse and one leg to another horse, and split her apart to put fear in those women that were pregnant, to put fear in the baby. Imagine the trauma of knowing that you as a man fall in love with a woman, but you can't even love her because anytime the slave master please, he can come into your house and go into your woman. Imagine the trauma of having to know that you might have a family, but at any given time, if the slave master wants to separate the family, he can sell your son to another slave owner. He can sell your daughter to another slave owner. Imagine the trauma of growing up and not being able to provide for your wife or your children. Imagine the trauma of thinking that you're going to be stuck on a slave plantation the rest of your life and you see no way out. Imagine the trauma of coming up out and they say that you are free, but you're not free because you can't even do nothing for yourself. Imagine the trauma of going in the deep south and they set up Jim Crow or the black codes or the black laws. Imagine the trauma of trying to get something to eat and they tell you that you can't eat here because you a so-called Negro. Imagine the trauma of going to a water fountain and you get lynched because you drink out a water fountain that says whites only. Imagine the trauma of being Emmett Till's mother and some white woman said that he looked at her the wrong way or whistled at her and he got mutilated, a young boy, by white men. Imagine the trauma of Black Wall Street in Oklahoma trying to do something for themselves, setting up their own banks, setting up their own churches, setting up their own economy, and somebody with a poisonous heart, with an envious heart, don't like to see black success. So they come with helicopters and bomb not only the streets but the city. Imagine the trauma of trying to say that you love the white man and he's your brother, and we should not be judged by the content of our skin, but by the content of our character. But you go and you march in peace, but you go to a city and you holding hands, and this enemy 6 dogs on your women, 6 dogs on your child. Imagine the trauma of having to sit in just so you can eat a burger next to a white man. And they bring in the police department, the fire department, and turn a hose on you and your family because you want to eat a hamburger next to the Caucasian. Imagine the trauma of growing up in this world. Imagine the trauma of getting a man given to us, and he shines in the darkness, but the darkness comprehended it not. Imagine the Honorable Elijah Muhammad standing up in the 30s, in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, and calling this man who he is. And the man not being able to touch him because he was backed by God. Imagine the trauma on Honorable Elijah Muhammad's mind that he talked to us day and night, but we didn't receive him as we should. We didn't respond to him as we should. Imagine him departing and the open enemy saying, okay, well, we got to weigh in. So imagine the trauma of drugs coming in your community. Imagine the trauma of blaxploitation films coming in to the world. Now all of a sudden you the Mac. Now all of a sudden you a pimp. Now all of a sudden you a big time dope dealer. And you think to be popular, you got to wear a big fur coat and shoes that are 12 inches high in the heel. That ain't no grown man. You a grown fool. But imagine the trauma of going through that. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan standing back up and trying to call us on. So I just want us to reason today, brothers and sisters. And now I would like you to just help me receive a brother who's going to take us further on our program, and a brother who came from the southern region, the same as our keynote speaker, Brother Regent Robert Muhammad. And please help me with bringing up Brother Murder Muhammad with a warm round of applause.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we give him praise, we give him thanks. We thank him for coming in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And we thank him for raising in our midst the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank the Honorable Elijah Muhammad for leaving in our midst a divine reminder in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In their names, brothers and sisters, I greet you all with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. How's everybody doing today? All praise due to Allah. Before I go any further, can we give our Western student assistant minister, Brother Mikhail, a hand, brothers and sisters. He's doing such a wonderful job, and we thank Allah for him. As we all know, in these days and times, there's so many distractions that our young men and women can be involved in, but it's beautiful to see a beautiful young brother involved in the work of God. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? So we have a very special message today coming from the Western or the Southwest regional minister, student minister Robert Muhammad, and I'm pleasured to and honored to be able to bring him to the roster. Brothers and sisters, those of you who don't know much about me, which is most of you, actually came from the Southwest region. I actually accepted the teaching of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under this brother when he was the Western or the Southwestern. I'm so used to saying Western because we're in the West here and I've been here for a while. But the Southwest region, which involves Texas and New Orleans and other parts of the country, that I'm just honored to be able to participate in this program because, as we all know, once we accept Islam coming from this world, there is an unease about it because we don't know. We don't know the unknown. We're not very comfortable. Locally in the city of Dallas in Mosque number 48, I was made very comfortable. But I didn't know the region. I didn't know the nation. I didn't know the structure. So I thank Allah for this brother for showing such an ease. Now, he's not a native Texan. Brother was actually born in New York. He actually grew up in Harlem when the nation was thriving in the 1960s. He saw Brother Malcolm. He saw the best of us. And at this point in time, brothers and sisters, he's representing the best of us. He actually met the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan for the first time while he was in college in the 1970s. And that made a huge impression on him. Brother went to Houston in 1980 for economic reasons, grew in the mosque, and became the Southwest representative of the Nation of Islam in 1994. And I thank Allah for this brother because I've seen the growth in him. I've seen where he's evolved into something that we all should be evolving into, which is a good representation of Islam in the hills of North America. So I thank Allah for this brother. I also thank him for the impact that he had on my family. When my family saw me going through the change, as we go through the change, when we quit doing things, we started looking a little different. I had an older brother take notice. Many of my brothers and sisters were familiar with the nation, they were familiar with Islam, but this particular brother didn't have much of a clue. So when he saw the change come over me, he wanted to take a look at this, but he wasn't quite ready to come to the mosque. He wasn't quite ready to come inside and hear the teachings. But we had a special event at Mosque number 48, where the Southwest region student minister came and spoke. And when my brother heard Minister Roberts speak, my brother quit drinking. My brother heard Minister Roberts speak. My brother quit eating pork. When my brother heard Minister Roberts speak, he started living a clean life. He hadn't registered yet in the nation, but it impacted his life. And you know how we are when our family sees us. We got to look someplace else, or they got to look someplace else to make sure we ain't really lost. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? So in a way, I thank Allah for Brother Robert because he kind of, quote, validated me with my family when they saw I hadn't completely lost my mind. So it's a beautiful thing to see this beautiful brother still in the Word, still evolving. Because he started out like most of us. We were in the streets. Very, very smart, very brilliant brother. He went from, as we would say, Afro to activism. He went from being a street dancer to a scholar. He went from being a frat boy to a freedom fighter. This brother here has a reputation, and we don't really talk about reputation in the nation, but just laying a groundwork for you, brother, that this, brothers and sisters, that this brother here is actually loving this work, and he's something that is representative of something that we all can achieve as we go through this struggle. So I thank Allah for him. He'll be here in just a few more moments. But I appreciate the foundation that I got from that region. I really appreciate that. They taught me how to be a soldier. It taught me my general orders. Now, I'm not dishing 27 because I love 27. So I thank the student captain, Captain Halim Muhammad, for allowing me to be that soldier by Allah's grace. I thank the Western Region representative, Minister Tony, for allowing me to serve you in the best that I can. So these are all just extensions, which is an example of what a nation is supposed to be anyway. We're not supposed to be an individual. All of us who have our individual agendas, we need to check those. We have to look at the whole. We have to look at our mosque. We have to look at our region. We have to look at our nation, because this is a nation. I know it's hot in here. I know we don't have the air conditioning. We don't have those mighty fine buildings, but we ain't building buildings. We're building people. We're building brothers. We're building sisters who are the image of God, who came to us in Master Farad Muhammad. So that's something that's beautiful for us to hold on to, and to see him manifest himself into different entities. All praise due to Allah. So at this time, brothers and sisters, before we bring up brother, we're going to take a moment to go into another aspect of the program, which is also very important, which is charity. We're going to ask the Secretary of the Department to come forth and pass the receptacles. And as we think about our charity, brothers and sisters, we need your financial support right now. We need it later. But charity is also a spiritual aspect. Actually, after prayer comes charity in our pillars in activism in Islam. So keep that in mind. Charity can also be just a warm smile, brothers and sisters. It can be a warm greeting to a brother or a sister. So is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Are we ready to take this ride?
Yes, sir.
Are we ready to hear somebody that actually is representing us as a nation in a whole nother part of the country? What's so beautiful about the nation, you can go into any mosque in the Nation of Islam, you'll see the same structure. You go into any mosque in the Nation of Islam, you'll hear the same teachings. You go into any mosque in the Nation of Islam, and you will see a beautiful sister, and you will see a beautiful brother trying to uplift the word of God. So I think our main speaker now is ready, brothers and sisters. We want to get the mic ready for him before he comes. All praise due to Allah. So without further delay, brothers and sisters, can we please put our hands together and warmly accept the Southwest representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in the Nation of Islam, Student Minister Robert Muhammad. Come on, brothers and sisters.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, I bear witness there is no God but Allah. I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I'm a student of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the leadership of his number one student and minister, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That being said, I can never thank Allah enough for his intervention in our affairs in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. Forever thank him for coming and raising up in our midst a man who the world will know to be greater than they ever thought. I speak of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who wore many titles. One was Messenger, the next was Messiah, but you'll come to know him as the Exalted Christ in just a few days. And I can never thank Allah and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad for not leaving us alone in this day and time, these dark days and time. Leaving with us a beautiful man, a brother, a servant, a friend, a man who I don't feel I'm worthy to tie his shoes. And I thank Allah that he would allow me to represent him in Houston, Texas, in the Southwest region, and in fact, all over the world, in the places that I've traveled and on television. I speak of our brother, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I greet you all in the green words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. To, in his absence, brother, student minister Tony Muhammad, my twin brother. To brother, student captain Halim. to Brother Secretary James and Sister Student Captain Amina, and of course, Sister Protocol Director, Student Protocol Director, Sister Rosetta. To the believers of Mosque 27, Los Angeles, California, the Western region, my brothers and sisters from Los Angeles, California and vicinity, I am happy to be here. I'm ecstatic. And I can't tell you just, how I feel right now. Just grateful to have this opportunity to come here and to address you. I don't want to hold you all day because, we simply want to respect your time and we want to use this time the best we can. Before I begin, I would be remiss in not recognizing another person who has traveled far and to be with us this afternoon. We have Brother Student Minister Abel Muhammad from Mosque number 2, Chicago, Illinois, is with us today. I want to thank him for honoring me and riding with me to the mosque so we could do what we got to do. Let me very quickly say thank you to Brother Minister Emeritus Wazir Muhammad and Brother Captain Emeritus Wali Muhammad. When I first became a student minister in 1987, 23 years ago, he was, believe it or not, my first regional minister for Los Angeles. Believe it or not, Houston, Texas. Los Angeles was over Houston, Texas. Now, I don't know how that worked out. It was over Houston, Texas. I said, boy, the West, they annexed everything. They just came and took over Texas. But they were our regional headquarters. And under the mentorship of Brother Wazir, under the mentorship of Brother Captain Wali, I am the man that I am today. You should never, ever, ever forget the bridge that brought you over. For that same bridge, you might have to take one day to go back. So I wanted to make sure that I not mention them, but give them their proper due and their proper respect. One thing that I believe we're going to have to do, brothers and sisters, is understand that we're very special people. Right. It's not that, that God is not independent of us. But the truth of the matter is that because you chose God, God chose you. Right. And you have to understand how special you really are. Yes, sir. As you sit in the audience today, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at me, you said, brother, you don't know me. And I know you. I've seen your faces in 1,000 places. I've seen your face 1,000 times. I know you because you are me and I am you. We're flesh of each other's flesh, bone of each other's bone, and blood of each other's blood. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Los Angeles, California, Houston, Texas, New York, Chicago, Illinois. We have the same problem, the same drama. Every time we step out our houses, we got to put on this face, our game face, and act like we're sane, but we know we're walking in an insane world. I got a couple of witnesses up here. All right. I'm about to get started. But we're going to have Mosque today. I don't know, you came here, I just came here. Brother told me come here, so I'm here. It's all right. I'm telling you, we're going to have Mosque break out today. So I want to say that we are one and the same, no matter where we're from. Right. He said, well, this is my brother from Texas. What he know about California? The truth of the matter is that 2 or 3 generations ago, what would you know to California? Because most of your folk came from Louisiana, Arkansas. You came from Texas. Why? To escape the oppression of the South and the Southwest. Your people came out here to get the jobs during World War II, the factory jobs that they offered when you came out here. So you trace your lineage back. You wasn't from this part of LA, western part of LA, South Central, and all these places. You was from Lizard Lick, Louisiana, Mud Crusher, Mississippi. Come on now. T-Bone, Texas. These are the places that you ask your grandma. That's where we from. So don't be, I'm cool now. You know what I'm saying? I'm from LA, fool. You know what I mean? No, you wasn't. We just checked your pedigree. We know where you came from. So if we all came that way, or some came from the south of here. Remember now, this used to be part of Mexico. I wish I could get a witness up here. So was Texas, so was New Mexico, so was Arizona, so was part of Utah, so was part of Colorado. All of that was Mexico. So we need to understand where we are right now. Because the truth of the matter is, brother and sister, it's going to be hot in a few days, and we're going to have to look to one another. We're not going to have anybody to look over us. We're going to have to look after one another. Now, I don't have a lot of time to introduce myself and tell you my life story. This isn't that kind of party. Meet me afterwards, or come see me another time, or come visit me in Houston, and I'll tell you my life story. I don't have time for that right now, because right now we have a patient that's on the emergency table in triage right now that has flatline. We're in danger, and right now we're in the lull before the storm. If you don't see and you don't understand that right now we are people who are chosen by God. I just want to get right to the point. When we say Allah appeared in the person of Master Prophet Muhammad, look, if you don't remember nothing else he said them cats down there, them people at March 27, them Muslims, let me tell you what they believe. They believe God visited America. Hear me again. I'm going to say it slow. Maybe I'm talking fast. You know, I am from New York originally. I want to make sure I ain't got a Texas accent or nothing. Those people down there believe that God visited America. I know it says, and I love to watch a football game where in the end zone, the person's holding up John 3:16. God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son. You know, every time somebody score a touchdown, they do it like that. But I want to say to you that God so loved the black man and woman of North America, he came himself 9,000 miles. That's what I want to get across. Everything after that is just in support of that. Because I wouldn't be sitting here, and you wouldn't be sitting here, and there would be no Honorable Elijah Muhammad, no Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, had not God loved us so much. He took off his holy garments and he put on dyed garments and he traveled the world in search of those who were written up in the scripture that would be a sheep that would be lost. He came in search of a sheep that had been lost, of people who had been lost. And you cannot, and I cannot, and we cannot deny that we are lost people. Did I say something wrong? I'm not lost, man. I got GPS. I found my way here. What do you mean I'm lost? Lost is this. Who are you? And who am I? And what name is on our driver's license? And you know something about me is this. Anybody know anything about me? When I grew up, y'all, I went to Catholic school and I had these nuns, right? And they used to break my knuckles to make sure you wrote your name in your book. So anytime you look and find any of my books, I got my name written in it. So in case you just happen to pick up my Supreme Wisdom by mistake, I said, brother, is that your Supreme Wisdom? Yeah, brother, I think it's my, no, let me open it up. Oh, no, brother, that's my Supreme Wisdom. Well, my name's in it. Well, the question is, who are you and whose are you? Who do you belong to? Well, I belong to myself, man. Who talking to me like that? You from Texas and you don't know me. I know you because your brother and sisters right there in Texas think the same way. I am who I am. But look on your driver's license. Whose name do you carry? We say we're African American. What's your African name? You might be in America, but where's your African name? You can have a name like Culpeper, McGillicuddy, or Houlihan, Overstreet, Underbrook, Fish, Rock, Brown, Green, Black, Purple. You know, You can have these kind of names and say, well, who do you belong to? So whoever, and you got to know this about the European, wherever he went, he discovered some people who were already there. Wherever he went, he found some place that was already there when he got there. He discovered these things. And when he got there, he decided that the power of naming a thing makes it his. So he would name a thing, and that meant that they belonged to him, or it belonged to him. I conquer this land in the name of their Catholic Majesties, Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, and I claim them for Spain. I claim them for King James of England. I claim them for this one and that one. Whatever one they stick their flag down, and then they fought wars over who would control what part of the so-called New World. But also, they went to Africa and they carved up Africa, like you carved up a Christmas turkey. And they took it and they carved it up and they put their names on it. And so you got names there, Lake Victoria. Victoria ain't never been there, but they got a lake named Lake Victoria in Africa. Somebody help me out with this thing. Now, here you and I are a people of African, Asiatic, Aboriginal descent with another people's name on our body. And so it doesn't matter whether you from France, you got a little French. I'm from Haiti, brother. So my name is, my name is Pierre Chanzé. Really? But that's a French comment. And so you say, well, my people, I come from the Dutch West Indies, brother. The Dutch Antilles or whatever. So my name is De Klerk. Oh, really? So De Klerk owns your people. My name is Brooks, brother. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from Kingston. I'm from 99 Deanery Drive in Kingston, Jamaica. Your name is Brooks, so an Englishman owns you. Or you can be from Mexico. And your name could be Rodriguez, or Gonzalez, or Perez. And guess what? That meant the Spaniard owned you. So now here we are, Aboriginal people. Ab meaning from original, yet we're wearing this Johnny-come-latelys name. So the point I'm trying to make to you is not a beatdown session. It's for us to remember that if we're the people of God, and in Chronicles it says, if my people were called by my name, the question is that his name? Are those the names of God? So whose name are we wearing? And what does it denote and what does it connote? It denotes that you belong to someone or took your name from someone that isn't native to anywhere on this planet, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan says to us. He's not native nowhere on this planet, yet you're wearing his name. That's the denotation of it. Now, what's the connotation of it? The connotation means that what's suggested, what's said indirectly is that you are somebody else's property. Now the question is, when Christ returns, when the Messiah returns, as the Muslims believe, the Christians believe, and the Jews are looking for the Messiah, when he returns and he comes to look for his people, when he looks and he picks you up and me up, and he looks to see if our name is in his book or our name is in. Well, you don't belong to me, huh? So I say all of this not to make myself better than you or us better than you. I say all of this for us to think now. I'm going to move quickly through my lecture because I want to get some points across to you today. I am here at the invitation of my brother Tony Muhammad. And I had no intentions of coming to teach at the mosque. In fact, I was going to be here for 5 weeks and I would never have came over here. Let me thank the mighty MGT, of Mosque 27. Let me say thank you for bean soup. Y'all know nothing about no bean soup. Bean soup. Thank you, sisters, for bringing home to where we're at. There's nothing like that bean soup going down. A little salad, some fish, little, sauteed vegetables. Oh, just heaven. I thank you, sisters, for making us feel at home and keeping us healthy so we don't have to eat out of everybody else's restaurant. Thank you so much. I'm here at the invitation of the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. Brother Abel and about 14 others of us are here at the invitation of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I want to say this straight up. Because a lot of time, brothers and sisters, we follow leaders with suspicion and doubt. Let me first of all, Allah just put it on my heart, I'm going to connect these dots.
Go ahead.
Los Angeles is a community of Muslims that go back literally to the first rise of the Nation of Islam. Islam has deep roots in this city. And one thing about a human being, and the brothers and sisters of Los Angeles who gave their heart and soul to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's like unto a woman who falls in love the first time. Come on, help me out, sisters, because they looking hard over here. Brother Roberts is here. This last time you won't see me. That falls in love that first time. Y'all ready? First time. I'm not. This ain't the second time around. The first time. That first love. Y'all know about that one, right? I don't want to give away no secrets. So just talk about that first. Hold on, brothers. That first love. You remember the one I'm talking about, the one that he called on the phone and your mama said, you Niecy? Who that on the phone? That's just Junebug, mama. Don't be on the phone all night. I gotta go do the dishes, mama. But I'll talk to you later. Okay. Junebug was the one you was in love with, Niecy. And guess what? He didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have a fancy car. But because he was your first love, you didn't mind catching the bus with him. Oh, yes, you did. You didn't mind going to movies with Junebug. You didn't mind going to Wendy's and what? He didn't have a lot of money, so you go to Wendy's and what? All he had to do was supersize them fries. But if Junebug didn't respect or didn't mature as fast as you did, and he didn't love like you did, and he didn't open up like you did, because women are more open than men, especially when it comes to emotion and their feelings, and Junebug played with you and broke your heart, then like a flower, you close back up. I'm making a point, brothers. I want you to listen very well. Because guess what? We're like that too. I'll get with you in a minute. You closed up. And so the next relationship you had, you were less trusting. The next relationship you had, you said you ain't got no car. I ain't going out with nobody ain't got no car. Burger King, are you kidding me? Wendy, come on now. You got to start at Red Lobster. That's just before payday. If you ain't got no Red Lobster and don't get them cheese biscuits, you can forget about it. Trying to kiss me on your back porch, brother, you better give me the King Suite in the hotel if you want this. I'm not going to the Dollar Theater, the rerun the movie. It better be the premiere. If it ain't the premiere, we ain't on the red carpet. Why? Because after that first love, which you love honestly, purely, with all your heart, the next love you have is going to be a business arrangement. Once you're burnt, you say, it ain't nothing personal. It's just business. Am I lying? No. Now, brothers, let's talk about us. The men who stood up at the call of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they stood up in the teeth of wicked leadership in this city, a vicious police department, a racist man, in a city in transition that was going from a city where they began this suburban growth, where they were leaving the inner city, leaving you and I behind. You and I moved into these neighborhoods that once were forbidden to us. These people came in and vicious and shot up the mosque and killed our secretary. There are those in this audience that remember those days. They gave Muhammad. Whatever he asked for, they got it. He said be, and they say it is. This is the kind of follower that would kill a brick, choke a stick, drown a glass of water. You couldn't say anything bad about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. You better not. Don't get it twisted. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad departs. They're left in shock, like all of us were. Then they began to be told that the man that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said he met that taught him God in person, well, he really wasn't God.
What they say?
He was just a reverse psychologist.
That's right. That's right.
But see, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad couldn't have been a messenger because he really didn't meet God, because Prophet Muhammad of Arabia is the last messenger, so he couldn't have been that. He was an angel. Oh, well, he can't be an angel because that's a divine being. He was a great social reformer that was misguided, but he did good work. Now, when you've given your heart and soul to something, you've seen your people die. You've lost families, you lost jobs, you lost friends to follow somebody, and then somebody comes along and tells you that everything you followed was a con game. Once you've been burnt like that, it's hard to give yourself to anybody and anything again. And not only those who experienced it, but those who now sit in the audience today, because right now, you don't know whether you should give yourself to anybody or anything or any organization again. And because we are like that now, our people are in grave danger because we don't want to join anything. We don't want to organize anything. And right now, we are on the brink of the pit of fire. This country is the Titanic. It has already hit the iceberg, but most of us were asleep down on the second and third deck, and we don't even know. And some of us now don't realize there's not enough lifeboats on this Titanic. And they're not letting us off the second and third deck. Everybody in first class is heading for the exit. That's right. Come on, brother. And by the time we find out, it's going to be too late. We're going down with the ship. Some of us have been blessed enough to get off the ship and to be able to get on the lifeboats. But what has happened is some of us got discontent on that lifeboat because, you know, them seas are a little choppy out there. That lifeboat is a little different than that luxury liner you was on called the Titanic. And the problem is you don't see the captain on the ship, the one who has the majestic presence about him, telling his first mate and telling the second mate to do this and do that, and he's just majestically sitting at the helm of the ship giving orders. You don't see that. What you see is somebody that was walking around with you on that boat saying, "Stroke! Stroke!" So who was this cat? Man, this cat was mopping the floor. Who's he running this boat? So now you upset because you're in the boat with a bunch of people and the cat is telling you to row, get away from the Titanic. There's one here, he looked like you. He makes himself with no reputation, but he's been left in charge of that lifeboat.
Yes, sir.
And because you don't like the lifeboat or the people that's on it that's a little small and it's a little rocky out there, guess what you want to do? You want to get off the lifeboat and get back on the Titanic. I'm here to say to you clearly, without equivocation, that to ignore Minister Farrakhan in this day and time is to put your own life in danger. To put your own life in danger. Now, I said all of that to say this. We're here to study and prepare ourselves for something that's about to come. I just want you to remember this scripture coming out of Psalms, the 40th chapter, 7th verse. Lo, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. Lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. I'm here to say to you, whether one of you stands up or everybody stands up, Farrakhan is walking through the pages of scripture right now, and you don't even realize it. And because he's walking through it, so are you and I. Listen very well. This isn't about a charismatic character cult of Mr. Farrakhan. I want to make it clear this is about you and me. Because he has his reward for his God, because he has instructions from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and so do we.
That's right.
Now, he's responsible for his instructions, and you and I are responsible for our instructions.
That's right.
Just come on now, just hang with me for a minute. I'm going to have you out of here in just a few. I went down that track to talk about once burnt, the second time is business. Because unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we follow Minister Farrakhan in hesitancy and we question every move that he makes. Saying something wrong. When I don't get no witness bearing, I know I'm stepping on the toe, so I'm going to stay right on it. It's in this city that he began rebuilding the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, sir.
In '84, he stood up with Jesse Jackson. He said, let's get registered, let's vote, let's go with our brother. We ain't never really been involved in electoral politics. However, whatever minister in whatever city in the Nation of Islam was a mover and a shaker. They were all like godfathers in their city. They could pick up a phone and get whatever they wanted to by the time the Honorable Elijah Muhammad got ready to depart. In all the major cities across this country, they had days honoring the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
Listen what I'm telling you. We know this. A minister in a city could pick up the phone and get whatever he wanted from City Hall. There wasn't no problem. We didn't have to vote because we had influence in our particular city. We had our finger on the pulse of the community. We knew what was going on, so we were like godfathers in our cities. When y'all was around, can you bear witness? Come on now, help me out now. Don't be ashamed. This is the way it was.
That's right. Good teaching, brother.
But now the minister in 1984 says, let's get registered and let's vote. Understand, brothers and sisters, God plays chess. Negroes play checkers. God plays chess. Negroes play checkers. God got his eye on the whole board. So if he move a piece, you got to understand that piece is related to every move that the enemy's making and every move he has to make to protect his king, his crown.
Right. Good teaching. Good teaching. Listen. Right.
So God orders Minister Farrakhan to help Reverend Jackson. Well, why? We've never been involved in voting before. Why are we doing this? Little did you know that the social scientists had predicted in 1984, because of the pushback after the civil rights movement. Remember how street organizations started in this city. It was the destruction of the Black Panthers and COINTELPRO after destroying those organizations. And when black folk tried to move out in Huntington Beach, in that area, there were white gangs that attacked us. So those brothers that called themselves Crips stood up and began defending the community. They started off right, but the enemy, without guidance of our elders in the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam, they went this way. And then the other brothers were threatened on the other side of town, seeing that they were organized, so they formed Bloods. The only difference between Bloods and Crips was what bandana was available in the liquor store at that time. There's only one thing that's the truth. You know it, and I know it. You know it. I'm not putting it down. I'm not joking. I love them brothers. I love them. They're about the only organized thing we got in the community. I love them.
Think about it.
I'm like my minister. I love them. I just wish that when they deal in products, that they entrepreneurs.
Right.
Look, the young people today don't want to work on no job. Why do they work on a job? Here, go to school, get your good education, you get you a job. And you work on a job, 25 years, you punching the clock. Next thing you know, your job, your factory moves overseas. He moves overseas, moves your factory overseas, and here now you get laid off after giving your blood, sweat, and tears for 25 years. He said, why should I go to school and get a job? What, to wind up like you? That factory job ain't here no more. Pop, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. You call it hustling, we call it entrepreneurship. That's a big word. Hustling. hustling. But what product are you hustling? You're hustling what they allowed you to bring in from Nicaragua. Or what they brought in from South America, from Colombia. That's the product they allow you to sell. But what if you had another product? Then you take that entrepreneurial spirit and do what the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught. Don't you know that these children are a fruit of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? These are his children. He told us do for self. And we didn't listen to him. We sat around waiting on a job. He gonna have a job for us. He ain't got no more job for his own. And guess what? He's not gonna have any for us. So now what did our children do? Man, I got to get my hustle on. I got my mind on my money and my money on my mind. I got to get my hustle. I got to do what I got to do. I got to make my end. I got to stack my paper. So what do? They go out hustle. But what if instead of them selling that kind of product, they were allowed to have access to the wholesale markets of Asia, of Central and South America? What if they were allowed to get those $8 Nikes that they sell for $250? $8, they can cost $8 to make, you know. What if they were allowed to have access to that kind of product so that they could set up shop and sell and do for sale? Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and these are our children. They don't need to condemn them. They're his children. He said, we got to have some of this earth I can call my own. So you can't go in certain people's territory wearing the wrong colors. Because he told us we had to have some of this earth we can call our own. They're listening. They don't even know genetically it's all in them to do what the master told them to do. So we can't condemn them. They're following the divine mandate. It's us who need to look again at ourselves and wonder why we're not following that divine mandate. Lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. Who are you talking about, Robert? I'm talking about the Honorable Louis Farrakhan. He's written up in the book from cover to cover. Yes, sir. I can talk about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but he's not present among us right now. A lot of times we like to talk about people who ain't present among us because people who aren't present among us can't hold us to a standard. But the man that's in front of us always tries us. Whether it's the Honorable Louis Farrakhan from Chicago or his local representative, Brother Tony, we always try you because we're here in front of you. We are your contemporaries. So you have an opportunity to think, to judge us in what we do. But be very careful, brothers and sisters, because one day you're going to be standing up here. You didn't know that? You didn't know one day you were going to be a student minister? You were going to be a student captain? You were going to be a student leader over a ministry? Don't you know that's what you're being prepared for? You're not going to be in the audience all your life. You're going to get up and have to lead people. And when you get ready to lead people, then you're going to really find out. See, because when you're in the ranks sitting next to me, that's my sister, that's my brother. But let them be pulled up and have a job to do. Have to follow some instructions that sometimes they don't understand, but it's being a master chess player saying, move over here, move over there. You say, well, why he told us to move over here? Why he told us to move over there? Because he's playing chess. He sees the whole board. You might be a pawn. You might be a knight. You might be a bishop. You might be a queen. But you got to be moved the way your God wants you to move so that we can win this game. And it is a game. It is war. It is war. I have so much to tell you. I've been up all night studying. I ain't said a thing I studied. It's you who gave me my subject. I have to defend Minister Farrakhan. Because if I don't, you'll die. I got to put it in its proper perspective. So I don't need that man. He ain't doing nothing for me to stand there. You don't know. 1984, he asked us to vote. But you didn't know the social scientists were saying that if there was a spark that said that the social conditions were such that cities around this country were ready to go up in smoke. Now, I was around when Dr. King got assassinated. I don't know about you. I was living in New York. I was at my grandmother's house on 117th Street and 7th Avenue, around the corner from Mosque number 7, when it was announced that Dr. King was assassinated. I can tell you the mood in Harlem changed overnight. And I caught the 7A bus to go uptown. 2A bus, I think it was the 2A bus. I caught the 2A bus going uptown. By the time I got to 125th Street, 7th Avenue, the merchants were running out there, pulling down their curtain. They knew it was there, and people were already, you could hear the alarms going off. The jokers were throwing brick through windows, getting them leather coats, all kind of stuff. It was on. And cities burned all across this country about Dr. King. Now, 1985, the social scientists were predicting that if anything would spark and set that off, the same thing would happen again. Reverend Jackson was running for the presidency. The Jews took out a full-page ad in the New York Times saying, "Ruin Jesse Ruin." We were saying, "Run Jesse Run." They were saying, "Ruin Jesse Ruin." They were saying that this man embraced Yasser Arafat. No Jew in his right mind would support a man like this. And they were out to destroy and wreck his candidacy. They created such an atmosphere in this country that Reverend Jackson had over 100 death threats on his person. The Secret Service told FOI that. The Honorable Louis Farrakhan sent the FOI to his side. We secured him at the airport, got him off the plane, took him in safely. See, we battered in the Secret Service because there ain't no secret in whose service we're in. Oh, you can read Mr. T's book. Mr. T tell you that there's no better personal security than the FOI. He was a bodyguard and a bouncer. Nobody, they all respect us. They know us and we know them. We preserved his life because he was doing something that was inspiring our children. We're watching Reverend Jackson debate these white people on television. He's wearing them out. Our children are watching this. So they're getting in their mind, something in their mind that they can rule, that they can be in charge, that they don't have to sit around waiting for some great white hope. But if he'd have been assassinated, it'd have been all like popcorn. You think you went off in '92 when Rodney King's trial didn't go the way we thought it should go. I mean, to watch that beating on television and then to hear that jury say not guilty, it's like the thing came across my head, like, you know, you have the closed caption. He says, police officers found not guilty. I saw another line that said up under this, after watching that beating, do you believe the jury or do you believe your lying eyes? I begin to think that Rodney King began to assault the policeman's baton with his head. I said, whoa. I know I didn't see this. You tore Los Angeles. Tore it up. What would have happened if Reverend Jackson would have been assassinated? So Minister Farrakhan, moving in and intervening, gave us time. He started then, and then that's when that fight began with the Jewish community. Honorable Elijah Muhammad never had no beef with the Jews, except for he told us to do for self. And you got to understand, when you talk about doing for self, you're already talking about taking money out their pocket. They don't like that. I say something wrong? 1985, after that experience, he understood why so many of our black politicians were puppets in the hands of this kind of white Jewish power. So he launched an economic program called Power It Lasts Forever, and began trying to get us to go into business for self, using what we all use anyway, hair care and personal products. He went to Mr. Johnson. He went to Coma Cottrell. He went to the black entrepreneurs. And these people were threatened by the Jews and told by them, if you put that product on any of these shelves, we'll pull your products off the shelf. I have a letter from Mr. Johnson. So much apologizing for him backing out of a deal with Minister Farrakhan. When he began that, the attacks on Minister Farrakhan were so hot and heavy. I remember as a young FOI, don't they look good? Give them a round of applause. It's handsome. Oh my God. I used to look like that. I remember coming out here from Houston, Texas. It was so hot and heavy, they put me on a post in the basement, guarding a locked door in the back. The door had a chain so big on it, but I guarded that door. You better not touch that door. They were out there saying, Farrakhan hates Jews. Farrakhan hates whites. But we hate Farrakhan. Farrakhan. Death to Farrakhan. Death to Farrakhan. And it was hot and heavy up in here. We came up, we rolled up in here. They was at the Felt Forum or the Forum? The Forum.
Yes, sir.
Man, it was hot up in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
All over the country, they were calling death for Farrakhan. Then we went to New York. Lord have mercy. Madison Square Garden.
Yes, sir.
And the people tore the doors off of the garden to get in to see the minister. And you know, in New York, everybody got a shank, everybody got a gun, everybody got some brass knuckles, everybody got something. They had their boom boxes and all that. They said, brother, you can't come in with that on.
Right.
They were taking their stuff and throwing them in trash bins.
Right.
I'm coming to see my brother. You can't have that, brother. Take that, brother. I can't have it. Check me, brother. I'm coming in. When Minister Farrakhan stepped on that stage, the roar of the people was such. My post was on the press. I was to watch the press that was there. The print media was there writing their story. The fear that was on their face and in their eyes let me know that this man is somebody mighty special. For these white folk to be scared like this. They were looking like, oh, when that roar came up, when he stepped out on that stage. And then he told them, he said, you know, he said, you talking about death to Farrakhan? He said, what do you think will happen to you, Mr. America, if anything happens to Farrakhan? All the people stood, ah! Them white was, oh my God, this is dangerous. So now, we gotta walk with him in that. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's talking do for self. Yeah, I'm with that. Yeah. He's in this fight with these Jews. And then all of a sudden, we go out to Phoenix in '86 and he launches this self-improvement. The basic community development. I never heard no study God. Elijah Muhammad had us teach on Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. When we having this study group thing, I don't know what this study, what's this all about? Well, what we didn't understand was that we could not always point our criticism out.
That's right.
Because the truth of the matter is there wasn't no white people allowed in our mosque. At all. Period. But they always were up in there.
Come on.
So until we learn to improve ourselves, to learn to examine self, analyze self, correct self. Why do you need a lieutenant or captain standing over you talking about, you need to pray, brother. You need to pay your charity, brother. You need to do this, sister. Well, hold up. To force somebody to do something that they don't want to do. You get a job half done. But when someone is inspired to be part of something bigger than themselves, they not only do the job, they do it over and above what it's called for. So we have to learn now to be independent, self-determined people. God did not come to make us robots and sheep. He came to make us into himself. You didn't hear that? That didn't go over well with you. I think I threw one over your head. Let me get it back. I'm going to throw it right to you now. You ready to catch it? God did not come that you would be sheep, robots, and somebody that he would just point around. God came to make you into himself. That's what he came to do. Well, I know that's hard to believe. So then, moving forward, Mr. Farrakhan, 1990, stop the killing. Stop the killing. We're murdering each other in the streets of America. This isn't the Ku Klux Klan. This isn't the White Citizens Council. This is us murdering us. And murder begets murder begets murder. You can't help it. That is just the way it is. If somebody kills your brother, then you want to kill them. Somebody kills your dog, you want to kill their cat. And so now it began murder. We're killing each other and drive-by killing. Innocent people get killed. The minister sees, like a master chess player, what's going on. Tiananmen Square, the Chinese roll on their youth with tanks. He told us and came out here to the LA Forum, the LA Coliseum, where their family day. It was beautiful. We had stars, we had all that. We had a message. And then our brothers start fighting in the parking lot. So he goes then to Compton and he tells them, this is it. here again. God got to teach you a lesson. He didn't come back here again. Then you had the Rodney King riot. Oh, you was in charge for about a day, a half a day. Dow Gates pulled his people out. But when them jokers came with them armored vehicles up in here, you began to understand that you had pop guns. And them boys had real guns. And if you were going to take them on, you'd have had a better chance in Baghdad with a BB gun than taking on what they had for you. So you rolled up in here, and what the minister said came true. Right in front of your face, you saw it. And you tried with all your heart to have blood and Crip come together and to have a gang truce. That all comes out of the mosque, comes out of what the minister taught. You sincerely tried, but it wasn't in the best interest of the crash units and the LAPD and the SWAT and the FBI who trained it all around here and gang task force. It wasn't in their best interest that you make peace.
Right.
So they made sure that that gang truth didn't hold. They made sure that the young gangsters did not listen to the OG.
Right. Go ahead. Come on with it.
Minister went on with Stop the Killing. Stop the Killing then turned into men's only meetings.
Right.
Those men's only meetings, he started going to the churches. We're looking at him. What are we going to these churches for? We're going up in these churches for. We're questioning why the minister going up in the churches. Well, 85% of the men that showed up at the Million Man March were Christian. But they came at the call of a Muslim. And white folk didn't finance the march. Black people did. And we didn't come on a Saturday where everybody was off. We came on a Monday. And guess what? Oh, black man, you should have been there. Oh, yeah. Sisters didn't happen. They're getting the Holy Ghost up in here. I ain't got but a few more minutes. But what I'm trying to say to you is this. On that day, the Supreme Court wasn't even supreme. They closed down. The black man held court that day. On that day, the Congress was not in session. On that day, the president wasn't even in the White House. He went to Texas to give a punk speech on race. Bill Clinton did. While the minister was there holding court in Washington, D.C. We didn't understand that. What Farrakhan talking about this Day of Atonement? What is all this? We ain't never been involved in no marches. All the time, all along his world tours, he went around all these countries. What he going over there? Well, everything the minister do, we question. He brings together Imam W.D. Muhammad and the Nation of Islam to, in a sense, show some unity and reconcile our house.
Yes, sir. That's right.
You didn't understand that because he's not operating on your and my instructions. He's operating on the God's instructions. Mr. Farrakhan is a uniter, not a divider. His job is to bring us all together. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to him, he said, through you, brother, I will get all of my people. That's his nature. That's the way he's made up. He loves black people unconditionally, and he's grown to love humanity because he has a bigger role now.
Good teacher.
Million Family March, Millions More Movement. Now he's closing out this term of his work with the time and what must be done. And now he's begun a fight that we thought was over. But it's only just begun. If you don't have these books, make sure that they order them and you get them.
Yes, sir.
And brothers and sisters, if you can't read, tell somebody. And let us help you to learn how to read. Don't be ashamed, brother. Don't be ashamed, sister, because many of us, or most of us, are functionally illiterate. We can read, but we really don't understand. And if you don't know how to read, then God, for God's sake, tell somebody. And let us help you to read, because you need to know about this secret relationship that we have had. They say they've been our friend. They say they're the chosen of God. They say they're the children of Israel. They say they've been persecuted. But you know something? In all of their narratives, all of their books, that's what they say. We're the chosen of God. We've been persecuted. We've been the friend of the oppressed. But there's always this however, but, and by the way. However, but, and by the way. Repeat after me. However, but, and by the way. We found all the howevers, all the buts, and all the by the ways. Yeah, we're the chosen of God, and we're supposed to be the ones who, on Passover, celebrate our escape from Egypt, but yet we were some of the biggest slaveholders in the Western Hemisphere. But we've been persecuted, but guess what? We persecuted them black people, them Africans. We sold y'all like they sell pork chops at the soul food place. And by the way, yeah, we're your friends. We financed the NAACP and all your black organizations, and we financed the 63 March on Washington. By the way, that money we got was from the slave trade, the cotton trade, and charging you high rents. And did I say something wrong? Get these books.
Come on now.
Lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. I'm closing now. In 1987, June 30th, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan came to Houston, Texas. He came by himself. He came to set our mosque back up. We had been crazy. He came in a white walking suit with white patent leather shoes. He got off the plane from Miami. He was by himself. They left me at the hotel room. They figured I would panic if I saw him at the airport. I wouldn't know what to do. So they left me in his suite to guard the room. He walks into the room. He remembers me from 1976 when I met him as a college student.
Yes, sir.
And a brother in the room asked him, and I quote, "Brother Minister, where are we in the book?" The minister said to him, "Brother, don't ask me that foolishness." He said, "The man of God doesn't look in the book to find out what his work is. The man of God does his work, and the book bears witness he's the man of God." That was my point of everything I'm trying to tell you. Where are we right now? Why are we here? Why are we here? I'm saying this more for myself and for Brother Abel and for you, to understand that you're not no minor players in all of this. The nation began its rebuilding here in Los Angeles, and this next phase of the work will be on the foundation of the work we're doing here in Los Angeles. Do not follow Minister Farrakhan in suspicion and doubt. Do not be angry with my brother Tony in what he's going through, this metamorphosis he's going through. Trust and believe in Allah, that Allah's in charge of all of this. There's nothing here that's done by mistake. There's no such thing as coincidence. I'm here and we're here because right now, as we walk through scripture, remember, lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. I don't have to say, Minister Farrakhan, where are we in the book? All I do is watch him and I know where we are in the book. Where are we? Why does he have us here? He has us here like Jesus. He's washing our feet. I am his disciple. He's washing my feet. You say he's washing your feet. Farrakhan washing your feet. Didn't you say that you're not worthy to tie shoelaces? I'm saying that, but he's washing our feet right now. He is serving us in a way you have no idea the way we're getting served right now. My mind is blown. He is washing our feet, but why? Because he's trying to show us how to wash each other's feet. He's trying to show me and Brother Abel and all the rest of us how to love one another in his absence, so that the nation will never fall again. He's trying to show us how we should serve one another, so we can serve the people and serve the believers. He's washing our feet so we can wash each other's feet, and we'll wash your feet, and we'll wash the blood off the streets of Los Angeles and throughout America. When he washed his disciples' feet.
Come on. Take your time. Take your time. It's all right.
Excuse me.
That's all right.
And before a very dark hour.
Yes, sir.
Jesus was not crucified, but was crucified for these reasons. Because he angered the Jews of his time. There's no black leader in this country that's ever, or white leader in this country that has ever suffered the wrath of the Jews and not folded. Henry Ford, as great industrialist as he was and much money as he made, when he took on the Jews, right, in the International Bank of the International Jew, they brickbatted him and made him apologize. And he hasn't stopped apologizing. Anybody who they have been offended by them, they call an anti-Semite, they take on, and there's no turning back.
That's right. That's right.
They're mad at the minister.
Yes, sir.
He gives this speech, he releases this book, not a mumbling word out of them. They're plotting right now.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yes. That's right. Yes.
Come on.
Without a doubt.
Why are they coming openly? Because they fear the people. They know that if you're wide awake and they mess with Farrakhan, well, look here, I ain't no Muslim man, but you know Farrakhan my man. Don't get it twisted, homie. They know that, they fear him. So first they have to do what they did in the time of Jesus. Lo, I come in the volume of the book, but testifies of me.
Yes, sir.
What was it that started the betrayal? Jesus came and a woman was washing his feet with fine oil and perfume. One of the Gospels, she washing his feet with her hair. Lord have mercy. The disciples, what are you doing? They began rebuking the woman. What are you doing? Wasting this fine. We could have sold this and fed the poor. Wasting this money on him. He said, leave her alone. I'm only with you for a little while longer. But it was right after that that Judas betrayed him. And Judas did not betray Jesus, brothers and sisters, over the 30 pieces of silver. That was his payment. He betrayed Jesus because he felt he was betrayed. Listen to what I'm saying. Judas is not a person. He is a person. Somebody's going to live up to that role. Come on. But Judas is a mentality of zealots who thought that Jesus was coming to establish the kingdom of God on earth on the throne of David. They thought that they were coming to set up a carnal, secular kingdom. They were tired of Roman oppression. They wanted to push the Romans out and reestablish Israel and Judah. So when Jesus was talking about at his trial, my kingdom is not of this world. When they went to stone the woman, because they caught her in adultery, I don't know where the brother was, but when they caught the woman in adultery, and he said, he who's without sin cast the first stone. And everybody had to drop their stone. They went grumbling. He said, woman, where are your accusers? I accuse you neither. He said, go and sin no more. Who is this captain forgiving sin? Wait, whoa.
Come on.
Master, should we pay taxes? Well, show me that coin. Whose face on there? Caesar's. Oh, okay. Well, written on the Caesar was Caesar, written on God was God.
Right.
They're looking for another kind of revolution. They're looking for another kind of leader. They're looking for somebody to establish this carnal kingdom because we become a carnal, material people. We want our appetites fed. We want to eat all day long. We want to smoke and drink all day long. We want the worldly pleasures, but we don't want the spiritual kingdom. So they asked Jesus about adultery. He said, oh, yeah, the law said if you were in adultery, you've broken the law. He said, but I'll tell you what, if you thought of a woman with lust, you've committed adultery. So now he's gone from this physical law to the spiritual, mental law. So now we're dealing with a whole different, now the Judas, his mind is blown now. Right? He's watching the money. He see that Jesus ain't talking what he thought he talked. He felt betrayed. Yes. And because Judas had been betrayed, he began to dramatize or act out his betrayal. He betrays Jesus himself. Yes. Whatever was done to you, you will do to others. Because it's in you. All it takes is the right set of circumstances to set it off. Some of you are looking at me right now, sister and brother. You don't know me. Like you said, guess what? You said you don't know me, homie. And guess what? You don't know me. But I remind you of somebody. My voice reminds you of somebody. I look like your old high school boyfriend or your first husband. I know it. The way I cock my head. The way I look. I know I look like him. The way I cock my head. And though I'm speaking the truth and you want to bear witness, I kind of look like him. You don't know why I don't like him for something. Something about him. And I remind you of your gym teacher that used to make fun of you. Oh, yes, I do. I remind you of the drunk uncle that used to be at the family reunion that your mama used to say, stay away from Uncle Billy, he's a little off. I remind you of him. There's something about me that turns you off.
Come on, man. Good teacher.
All these sad situations in your life. Your boyfriend quit you. When Teddy Pendergrass died, how come you didn't mourn, you didn't cry? As great as Teddy Pendergrass was. Because when your boyfriend quit you, what was playing? Come on, go with me. Come on over to my place. At the same time he quit you, that was what was playing. So now Teddy Pendergrass died. I don't care nothing about no Teddy Pendergrass. Why? He did nothing to you. But when your boyfriend quit you and broke your heart, Teddy was playing. And then you come up to me, smell good to meet you, brother Robin. You smell some man, smell like you got no Old Spice. My ex-husband used to wear Old Spice. I don't like him. I look like that drill sergeant you had in the military there, brother. All in, you maggot. Can't tell, get your camera back in focus. Get back in the right video.
Yes, sir. Come on. Yes.
So now, Judas betrays him. Peter denies him. Some of the strongest soldiers in Mosque 27 in the first ride, they said they would die for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It wasn't too long. We took this picture down off the wall.
Right.
And was mocking him, throwing away our lessons, throwing away our garments, throwing away everything he taught us. Began eating shrimp, lobster, eating 4 meals a day, eating peanuts and all that. It ain't forbidden by the Quran, brother. We into this new thing. Don't be in that darkness, brother.
Right.
Some of us were like what Rob Sterling called the Twilight Zone. We didn't know whether we twitched in between light and darkness.
Come on.
Am I lying?
Don't talk.
Now here we are, 2010, and some of us say, just like those said before, we died for Farrakhan.
Yes, sir.
So what happens when he departs?
Listen.
What will be our response when we get tried that way? When they lie and tell you things about him. That what we were in was some kind of charismatic character cult. That somehow, some way God never visited America. That you aren't the chosen people of God. That he lied. Elijah Muhammad lied. This thing was another con game ran again. What will be our response? Will we be like Peter? Will we deny him before the cock crows twice? Will we be like those disciples that abandoned Jesus? Or will you be like the people that when Farrakhan came and he spoke, he opened your eyes? You was lame, you was walking all like this and whatnot. He got you walking strong. Huh? He had your hand was all, all like this. Yo, what's up, fool? What's up? And then he made you straighten up.
That's right.
Woman, you had devils, all kind of old boyfriends. He made you forget about it. He gave you trust in the black man again. He cast out your demons. He gave you trust in the black man again. Here's a people, a nation that was dead. It was dead. Wasn't nobody salute no flags. There wasn't no corner cutting. Wasn't no FOI, no MGT. There was no more Nation of Islam. Farrakhan resurrected the Nation of Islam like it resurrected Lazarus from the dead. But where were they at his trial?
Come on.
Where were the disciples at his trial? Where were they at the cross? Were you there when they crucified Allah? Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb. We're always there. Go Farrakhan, go Farrakhan, go. Go Farrakhan, go Farrakhan, go. But when he's in a position where only God can help him, where will we be?
Come on, come on.
So I leave you. And I ask of you to remember this scripture. Lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. Keep one eye on Minister Farrakhan, keep one eye on the scripture. Keep one eye on Minister Farrakhan, keep one eye on the scripture. The devil says in the Holy Quran, respite me, God. Give me time. Hold off on my sentence until they are raised. Right now, we're going through a process of being purified. God says, you get all of them except for my purified ones. We're now being purified, brother and sister, not for our own self-aggrandizement, but to serve you. Be patient with the minister, please, because we got to close ranks. This enemy is coming. He stirred up the wrath of the enemy, and now we're going to stand strong. But when we stand this time, we have the eye on scripture, knowing that the disciples abandoned him, knowing that Peter denied him, and knowing that Judas betrayed him. We don't have to fulfill that role.
That's right. That's right.
We can rewrite scripture because the messenger and his laborers don't agree with the old prophet.
Right.
We believe we'll get all of them, not just 144,000. We're going to get all of his people. That's what the scripture is going to be saying about us when it's written about us. So I got to go because time is time. I pray, Allah, that any mistakes that I made, you chalk them up to me. But any good that I might have done in trying to bolster you, trying to make you see the minister just a little bit better.
Yes, sir.
Not 2,000 years ago, not 1,400 years ago, but right now.
That's right.
That you'll see the minister better.
That's right.
I leave you, brothers and sisters, because I know you would have been with Joshua in the Battle of Jericho. I know that. I see it in your eyes. I know you would have been with David, cheering him on when he slew Goliath. He had 5 smooth stones. He only needed 1. Busted right in his head, Goliath fell down. I know you would have been there with Jesus at the cross. I know. You would have been with Muhammad at the Battle of Uhud when 1/3 of the whole field stepped off. They said, man, this all you got, Muhammad? I'm gone. I know you would have been with him at the Battle of the Trench when all the Confederates and Allies came against Muhammad, and he indeed defeated them. I know you would have been with Jibril Tariq when he went over the Pillars of Hercules, now called the Rock of Gibraltar, in 711 AD, when he crossed into Spain and Portugal and the Muslims ruled for 700 years. I know you'd have been with him. You'd have been with Saladin when he took Jerusalem from the devil on October 4th, 1187. I know you'd have been with him. You'd have been with Fatih Mehmed II when he went into Istanbul in 1453 and turned Constantinople into Istanbul. You'd have been with Nat Turner. You'd have been with Denmark Vesey. You'd have been with Dessalines. You'd have been with Toussaint Louverture. You'd have been with Malcolm X. You'd have been with Martin Luther King. I've stood with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but will you stand with Farrakhan today? That's the question. You won't be judged on those before. You'll be judged on will you stand with the man that's given to you in this hour. Lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. Farrakhan is the Jesus in your midst. He's fulfilling it. Don't get spooky. He's fulfilling it. Jesus is the Aaron in your midst, because every Moses has to have an Aaron. Jesus, Minister Farrakhan is the Elisha in your midst, because Elisha took the mantle of Elijah and he began now to trouble again the waters.
That's right.
He is the Paul, because Paul taught Judaism to Gentiles. That's what you call Christianity, is Judaism to Gentiles. Minister Farrakhan's love all over this planet is for him. I traveled in Turkey in his name, and I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we visited 10 cities in Turkey, and everywhere we went, I mentioned Mr. Farrakhan's name. They translated in Turkish. Next thing I know, they were giving us gifts, and they gave him gifts. I had to get another suitcase and pay $250 just to ship back his stuff. They love him so much overseas. My word to Allah, my word is bond. So now, once again, 27, The 2 and the 79, that's completion. We've completed a cycle. We're about to embark on a new one. Don't you want to be part of that new foundation? Don't you want to be a part of a nation of gods? Don't you want to know your full potential? Don't you want to release yourself from the mind of Yakub, from the cardinal mind? Don't you want to stop dwelling on the poor part of your brother and sister's planet? Don't you want to stay on the best part of the planet ever since you preserved it? Don't you want to know what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad meant when he said, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner of the creator, planet Earth, God of the universe. Don't you want to be a God of the universe? Don't you want just nothing more, or something a little bit more than a Saturday school or school that goes up to 8th grade or high school when he named it the University of Islam? Don't you want to confer doctorate degrees? Don't you want to build a nation? Don't you want to build a community? Don't you want to do it for self? Don't you want to do international trade and commerce? Then what you got to do is stand up, straighten up, and remember, as I said as I leave you, God came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. He got here July 4th, made himself known in 1930 in the city of Detroit. And he searched among the people.
Yes, sir.
And he found a little black man from Georgia who came up with his family in 1925, named Elijah Poole. And he met him on September 22nd, 1931 in a meeting. And he whispered in his ear after the meeting, he says, I know who you are. He says, you're the one that you're preaching about. Master Farad Muhammad pulled him close to him with a stern face, said, yeah, I know that, but who else knows that besides you? Be quiet, it's not time to tell it yet. And it is Elijah Muhammad, who, as the scriptures say, again, lo, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of me. Blessed is the pure of heart, for they shall see God. Master Farad Muhammad raised up 25,000 in the city of Detroit, gave them all holy names. But why do we call it, since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, now I want you to think about this, Muslims, go back to your lessons. Why do we call what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us the teachers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when he says everything he got was from God in person? Why don't we call it the teachers of Master Farad Muhammad? Because he's the only one that saw that God was in our midst. And trust and believe that his brother Kalat and his assistant minister Augustus Muhammad in Chicago, Illinois in 1935, they believed that they were true followers of W.D. Farad. That's the only reason why they rised up against the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They thought he was trying to make something of himself. And I don't want you and I to make that mistake in 2010, that Minister Farrakhan is trying to make something more of himself than it is by telling you that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is still physically alive, that he visited him on the wheel, and that he's going back to him. So now Farrakhan trying to make himself something that he's not. He is what he is. He's in the book. It's written of him. And that's what he was born to fulfill, and you and I are too. God visited America and poured himself in a little black man from Georgia, and that man stood amongst us for 40 years, and he built a nation within a nation.
That's right.
And then he departed, as it said he would. And he had a second meeting with God, as Moses had a second meeting with God. But he left Aaron in charge.
Yes, sir.
And while Aaron was in charge, the people said, Moses is dead, he's never coming back. We need to pick a leader and take us back to Egypt. Don't go back to the Titanic, brothers and sisters. Stay on this lifeboat. Farrakhan is standing in place of our captain. He is the one that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you see him, look at him. When you hear him, listen to him. We say, go, go. We say, stay from. Stay away from those things. Go to what he tells me. Trust and believe that the Honorable Louis Farrakhan will not lead us wrong. He has led us through the valley of the shadow of death all this time. When the Jews gave Spike Lee $33 million to make a movie about Malcolm, he shut all of us up, and we let that thing go by. When the FBI trapped Malcolm X's daughter in an attempt to try to assassinate Mr. Farrakhan, he said, shut up, don't say a word. And he wound up winning the day and being on stage with Benny Shabazz after he's supposed to be enemy. The minister's always working and doing the things. God is guiding that man, and God will guide us if we submit and follow. And remember, I come in the volume of the book, for it testifies of Farrakhan. May Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Thank you, Los Angeles. I love you. Assalamu alaikum. How many, raise your hand, how many of you were visiting with us for the first time? This is your first time being at Muhammad Mosque. All right, give them a hand. Please give them a round of applause. How many of you believe that visiting with us believe what you heard today to be true and good for God's people? If you do, raise your hand. We're not trying to force, but if you believe it, raise your hand. Praise be to Allah. Then we want to ask you, if you believe it to be true and good for God's people, and you're visiting with us today, then how many of you today who are here would like to unite with us here at Mosque 27, unite with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and begin your process of being a part of this nation of Islam so that you may be what God intended you to be? As it says in Psalms, ye are all God's children of the Most High God. We're building a God movement here. How many of you would like to join on today? If you would, I'd like the honor and the privilege of shaking your hand on behalf of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Anyone at this time that would like to join on to yourself? Come on, black man and woman.
Come on, black man.
Would you like to do this today?
Come on, black man.
Come on. Anyone at this time?
Come on, black man.
All right. Well, my job is only to deliver a clear message. And the best I can, but every fisherman likes to know that he caught a fish. Sometimes it's a delayed reaction.
Come on, black man.
Come on up, brother.
Come on, brother.
Come on up, brother. Let me say this, brothers and sisters, with all sincerity. It only takes one.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Sweet little Jesus lying in the manger. Sweet little holy child didn't know who he was. They didn't know who Jesus was. We don't know who this brother is. But God knows. And what I said from me touched his heart to where he wants to stand up and be a part of that. Y'all embrace him. Don't let him out of here without everybody give him a hug and some love and find out his name. What's your name, brother? Brother Charles. And don't let Brother Charles get out of here without getting some good bean soup, a bean pie, Final Call newspaper, and make sure that he has your name, address, a ride to the back and forth to the mosque, and help Brother Charles with whatever social situation he has to overcome and show him what real love and brother and sisterhood is all about. And when I come back, inshallah, if God will permit me to come back to Los Angeles, I look to see you, Brother Charles, in that number when them saints go marching in. Thank you, Brother Charles. Give him right here. Give him a hand. Give him a hand. All right, brothers and sisters. I want to thank Brother Charles. I want to thank all of you. I don't know what that is. Y'all don't do the announcements, all that. I'm sweating like Elvis Presley at a concert here. But I want to thank you. I know we got another charity receptacle we'll pass around. Remember, charity is a principle in our religion. We ask that you would support us so we may support ourselves. We're going to do better, and we're doing better. We're on the way, brothers and sisters. We're just right around the corner from some greatness. We just want to see you come on up and help us. I'm going to get my water. I'm going to take my leave. I'm going to turn the meeting back over to our capable, competent, and qualified assistant here. I want to thank you, Mosque 27, for your friendly faces, for your beauty, for your hard work, for this Muslim-making factory called Mosque 27. I want to thank my sister, who's the faithful wife of Brother Tony Muhammad. I want to thank you, beloved sister, and may Allah bless you. And Brother Tony on your God journey. Well, y'all don't know. Y'all don't know what it's like to be in our shoes. But this is all being recorded, so let me be quiet. I thank you. May Allah bless you. May He keep you. So I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Come on, brothers and sisters, give a hand. South, west, Regional Minister, Student Minister for the Nation of Islam, Minister Robert Muhammad. We've been well taught, haven't we, brothers and sisters? All praise due to Allah. It's kind of hot in here, but we've got a steamy hot message. All praise due to Allah. Right now, I'm going to bring up Sister Rosetta to do the announcements. Come on, brothers and sisters. Put your hands together.
Assalamu alaikum. I got kind of hoodwinked into this, so work with your sister. All right. We'd like to welcome everyone here to Muhammad's Mosque number 27. We have our weekly announcements. On Mondays, we have our FOI night. This is our men's only class. This class starts at 7:30 p.m. and it's right here. Tuesdays, we have our 9 ministries meeting from 7:30 to 9 p.m. And Wednesdays, we have wonderful lectures from Minister Tony Muhammad and some of our student ministers. Fridays, we have our study group, and that's at 8 p.m. And Saturdays, we have a wonderful class for women only. No men are allowed in this class. That class is from 9 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturdays. We have a few events that are coming up. The Muhammad University of Islam fundraiser has been rescheduled for Friday, July 31st. We apologize for those of you who bought tickets and thought that it was going to happen this past Friday. It was postponed. Some things happened that were beyond our control, so we do apologize. So that's going to be July 31st, and it's going to be here. And the people who have purchased tickets, those tickets will be honored here at Muhammad's Mosque. Sunday, July 25th, will be Youth Sunday. And our keynote speaker will be Student Youth Minister from Compton, Brother Robert Jr. Muhammad. So Youth Sunday will be July 25th right here. All the youth, they run everything. They run the charity, the security, everything. So it's very exciting. Ramadan is coming. August, hot days, no water, no food, no nothing in your mouth. All day from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So that's over 12 hours. So we love it though, because Ramadan is something that we look forward to. That will be starting August 11th, but in North America, it'll be starting August 12th. We have a prayer list. If any believer that we know is in ill health or in the hospital, please let the Ministry of Information know, or myself from the Protocol Department. Let's see, August 5th through 7th, we're having a National Muhammad University of Islam. It presents its 3rd annual education conference. It will be in Houston, Texas, where our beloved minister who just spoke is from. Anyone interested, please go to the website, theeducationalchallenge.com. That's theeducationalchallenge.com. August 19th through 22nd, Healthy Relationships Initiative presents the 6th annual retreat for all the single believers in the Nation of Islam. This is going to be in Friendly Pines Camp in Prescott, Arizona. And anyone who's interested in finding out more about that, go to healthyrelationships.noi.org. That's healthyrelationships.noi.org. Next, September 10th through the 13th, for the believers who are married, there's going to be an first annual marriage retreat. This retreat is going to be in Tennessee, Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. And that website is marriageretreat2010.com. That's marriageretreat2010.com. One last thing, we have what we call the Nation's Titans Football League. That's for our young children, ages 4 through 13. Anyone interested, please contact Brother Steve. Brother Steve, are you here in the audience? I saw him earlier. Oh, okay. Anyone interested in signing up their children for the Nation's Titans Football League, see Brother Steve. Also, we have a bean pie. Do we have a bean pie available so we can show? We have a small bean pie, and it's organic. There's no preservatives added, and it's for $2.50. And we would like everyone to contribute to this, because this purchase of this bean pie actually helps us pay Mosque bills. So we would like to ask you to support that. And lastly, we have some visitors here with us at Muhammad's Mosque number 27. We have Lady Cage. Lady Cage is a candidate for the 47th Assembly and is visiting us with us today. Please welcome our sister. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Also, we'd like to welcome our sister, Kesia X, from St. Louis, Missouri, Muhammad's Mosque number 28. Sister Kesia, right here. Thank you. Also, we have our beloved brother, Native American, our brother Little Bear. He's also here. Chief Little Bear. Yes. So with that, I'd like to bring Brother Merlin back up, and thank you for your time and attention.
Didn't you do a wonderful job, sister? And brothers, we're always taught the nation to always be prepared. Praise be to Allah. So brothers and sisters, at this time, we had a wonderful day, wonderful meeting. We thank you all for being here. And at this time, we're going to stand and close in prayer. Position of prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praises are due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Master of the day of requital, the alone do I serve, the alone do I seek for thine aid. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those with whom thou hast bestowed favors, and not the path of those thou hast been brought down upon, nor those who go astray. Say he, Allah is one. Allah is him whom all depends. He begets not, nor is he begotten, nor is none like unto him. And I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the Messiah, the exalted Christ. And I bear witness the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is our divine reminder in our midst today. Ameen. Greet your brothers, greet your sisters. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.